Welcome back, and hello if you are new. So, possibly one of the most hyped death metal bands in the world, Venom Prison's Animus was definitely on every single person's lips. Now, returning in 2019, Venom Prison have a hell of a lot to live up to, but thankfully their brand new album Samsara does just that and more. One of the problems that I had with Animus was essentially the fact that it would never really sit still. From the moment the record begins, spastic instruments from the drums and guitars on Matrophagy are apparent, yet they get into this groove, and that's where essentially they stand still. However, when I say sit still, it still moves, but it has more of a direction, more of a focus, as evidenced on Uterine Industrialization, which later brings in this Dying Fetus-esque hardcore energy into the band's sound. Venom Prison kick it up a gear, where we see the actualization of the band and where they really become their deadliest. Venom Prison also wear their genre hearts on their sleeve, particularly on Megalus and Liana. There's a real black metal style vibe to it. The track also ends on somewhat of a deathcore style breakdown riff, and instead of sounding stale, actually adds a lot to the song. However, implementing the metaphysics of morals follows that kind of neoclassical Black Dahlia Murder-esque type sound. And I'm talking, you know, like early Unhallowed era Black Dahlia. And this is what I love about Samsara, is that there is this kind of like grit, this venom in it, no pun intended. And then later on Dukkha, there's more of that hardcore influence which kind of shines through at the same time. Yet, as much as I'm kind of name-dropping bands and genres, Venom Prison very much have their own distinctive sound. Vocally, Larissa Stupar's vocals are absolutely fantastic on this record and create essentially the best showreel that you could put together for a fantastic death metal vocalist. You've got the Barney Greenway style screams, and then you've got Cradle of Filth kind of highs, which are all throughout the record. Yet just as much the band experiment as well, and particularly on Self-Inflicted Violence, there's this kind of 80s guitar solo which comes in, but then it's followed by these legato, psychroptic inspired riffs. It's also worth mentioning that Self-Inflicted Violence ends with this incredibly ominous, atmospheric track which moves into Diva's Enemy. And I think that's one of the things that really gets under your skin about this album, is that using a dissonant sound that conjures up all manner of atmospheric tones and really creates that element of nastiness. But then we're moved into Asura's Realm, which again follows up this idea of the napalm death grinding groove after a black metal style solo, and it's such an interesting juxtaposition, but it really works. However, what puts Venom Prison apart is their fierce sense of social awareness. There are so many issues in the world that Venom Prison put through their own death metal kaleidoscope, and it makes for a welcome change from the standard gore-drenched, misogynistic style lyrics that we've come to know. Fundamentally on this record, everything is so well put together, and although at first hand it may seem that Venom Prison are somewhat of a Frankenstein's monster, with all of these different genres kind of mushed together, they very much have their own identity. Each track works fantastically within the context of the album and goes from primal rage to really sophisticated songwriting, and particularly final track Naraka I think is so interesting because we can see where Venom Prison are going to go next, and this is where it's so exciting. Personally, this is I think where death metal should be in 2019, addressing relevant social issues but having that absolutely back-breaking groove. Venom Prison have absolutely outdone themselves, and for that reason I'm giving this record a 5 out of 5. This is fantastic. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that like and subscribe button. Let me know what you think of the latest single from Venom Prison. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next week for another album review. Alright, take care friends.